For so long, humans in every culture have found unique ways to adorn, beautify, and make themselves attractive. In the quest to look beautiful, people, especially women, have derived creative ways to express what beauty means to them. In the various ways that people have chosen to make themselves pretty, some have altered their looks and bodily features, while some have taken the route of familiar and less tedious methods like body modifications, including tattoos, scarification, piercings, and implants. Some communities around the world have chosen more delicate and fascinating beauty practices, which has drawn the interest of people from other cultures because they are so unusual. One such practice is wearing fat brass coils or neck rings to make the neck appear longer among the Kayan women of the Myanmar tribe of southern Asia. Curious minds may wonder why they do it, how they fix the neck rings, how they clean them, and much more. Well, here is what we know about this practice. Purpose. Women of the Kayan tribe start to wear the golden brass coils carefully positioned to maintain a clean and attractive ring around their necks from the age of 5. They begin to get accustomed to the feel of the coils around their neck at this young age, since they become an integral part of their day-to-day lives. There are many speculations concerning the rise of the neck elongation tradition among the women of the Kayan tribe. It is interesting to note that this culture has existed for thousands of years, as early as the 11th century, and may have even existed before then. Therefore, it is safe to conclude that facts have now been mixed with myths. However, some well-known speculations about the women wearing these brass coils are that, in the olden days, they wore them to represent their tribe's identity. By doing this, they distinguished between them and women from other tribes. Another notable reason for using the brass coils was to determine the classes and portray the family's wealth. In those times, the brass coils were highly expensive, and anybody who could afford them was considered wealthy. Another speculation is that the women of the tribe were made to wear the brass coils around their necks for protection against wild animals, like tigers, which are common around their settlements. It was believed that these wild animals attack the necks of their prey. Since the neck is more vulnerable to attack, women were made to cover their necks with the brass coils to keep the animals away. But this speculation can easily be countered, as the men of the tribe do not wear the neck rings. However, some of the older tribal women, who are the oldest surviving members of the clan, insist that they're the descendants of dragons and maintain a desire to resemble their ancestors, so they wear the brass coils to imitate a dragon's neck. The next speculation, which is more considerable and in vogue, is that the women believe that the longer their necks are, the more attractive they look. So the brass coils are worn to lengthen their necks to make them more beautiful. But from all indications, these brass coils do not elongate the neck of these women as they have always believed, but the weight of the rings presses heavily on their shoulders and chests to weigh them down, making the neck appear longer and the shoulders deformed in an odd shape. For the younger women of the tribe, still believing in this age-long tradition, the longer the neck, the more beautiful the woman. Therefore, their sole purpose for wearing the brass coils is to adorn and beautify themselves. As the women grow older, more coils are added to the neck rings to increase the length, and they wear varying numbers ranging from 6 to as many as 28. Maintenance. Since the neck rings are a semi-permanent adornment that is not often removed, the women have found a way to keep it clean while wearing them. The brass coils are not as rigid as many are led to believe. Instead, they are movable around the neck, allowing the wearer to move the rings around and wash their necks using washcloths. Also, because of the nature of the rings and the metal they are made from, they can easily chafe the skin around the wearer's neck and make them uncomfortable when they mix with sweat. So, the wearers regularly oil their necks and treat the rings to make them convenient. For people with more sensitive skin who develop bumps and dark skin around their necks, the trained craftswomen help them adjust the rings as they slowly learn to live with it. Washing the neck ring goes through almost the same process as washing their necks, as they can easily wash the coils while moving them around to wash their necks. The coils are also cleaned with washcloths by the women alongside their necks and dried thoroughly to avoid retaining water inside the coils, which can lead to rusting or other damage. Removing the brass coils. For most of their lives, the Kayan tribe's women do not get to see what their necks look like because of the continuous presence of the brass coils around them. However, as they grow older, there are few occasions where they can remove the neck rings. One such time is when there is a need to refit the coils. After many years of use, if the rings are no longer as fitting as they once were, the wearer returns to the craftswoman who specializes in helping people wear the brass rings to either change the neck ring entirely or have it refitted to look prettier. There, the wearer encounters how it feels to be without the adopted weight for the first time in several years, and even checks how long their necks have become in the mirror. Often, they admire how thin their necks have become and test what it feels like to live without it for some hours or days before they get the rings refitted around their necks again. These occasions are often marked by the other women gathered to look at the person's neck and watch the process. Another time women can have the neck ring removed is after childbirth. Some of the young women relieve themselves of the weighty coils for a few months after birth, after which they will be encouraged by their tribeswomen to have it refitted around their necks again. While some women are happy to wear their neck adornments again, others have gotten used to the freedom of their bare necks devoid of weight and may be reluctant to wear them again. In the olden days, when the rules were stricter, it was reported that women were only allowed to remove the rings as a sign of punishment. However, the laws have now reclined to enable people to either wear the neck rings or refuse them. Interesting facts. Many years ago, the Kayan tribe and other tribes within the region had to move to northern Thailand, close to the Burmese border, for safety away from the conflict of the military regime in Myanmar. The tribe's women maintained their way of dressing to differentiate themselves from others within the refugee camps. Now they have become a tourist attraction, which has derived a source of livelihood for them, as tourists pay a certain fee to see, interact with, and possibly take pictures of them. The women make and display weaved materials of all kinds for sale, which generates extra income for them. However, the young women in the indigenous Kayan communities have forsaken this tradition, referring to it as old-fashioned and outdated. Interestingly, as more people become aware of the stretch neck practices, the body modification communities have adopted this style. Some women desiring long necks have worn brass coils to attain the illusion of a long neck. This culture has significantly pulled attention as more interested people are adopting it for style or visiting practicing communities to catch a glimpse of other beauty practices. Also, one myth surrounding the use of neck rings is that removing them after a long while may harm the wearer and result in their necks falling off. But contrary to initial assumptions, the coils do not weaken the neck. The muscles and bones of the neck remain relatively unaffected, though more compressed than the average person, and Kayan women can lead healthy everyday lives. Some women who reportedly removed their neck rings after a long period of wearing them could adjust to living without them after a few hours, moving their necks around without harm. One captivating fact about the long neck practice is that while the process is undeniably painful at the beginning, these women steadfastly pull through it to preserve their tradition and prevent it from going extinct, a remarkable quality of resilience that represents their values as a people. If you liked this video, do let me know in the comments, and obviously leave your likes too. Do not forget to share and subscribe. Above all, activate your notification bell so you don't miss the next video when it drops. Until next time, do take care and stay safe, and don't forget your honey butter.